Good day, good day, good day. Thank you all for joining us today. This is the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show where we talk about real life real estate situations, but we bring you real life real estate solutions. And my guest today is none other than Mr. Justin Shipp. He's going to be coming on and sharing some of the information that he's got going on in his business with us today. So hang tight with us. We're going to bring Mr. Justin Shipp right on.
Hey, how's it going?
There he is. There he is.
How you doing, Glenn?
Man, the myth, the legend, is making major moves in the world of COVID-19, closing deals like it's nothing happening. All right, let me see. I want to make sure I got you on here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen,
How
Justin.
you doing, man?
Great. Thank you for joining us today, man. I'm excited to have you on the show. Like we were talking about earlier, I was just telling you, it's many people in this business that I pay attention to, and you're one of the folks that stood out to me when I was actually looking at bringing on new guests, like because we're planning out for the next three months. And I said, I dare not skip over this young man because he is doing some major things in this business. Even I said, this dude is out here looking at houses and he ain't got no mask on. you like a wholesaling superhero.
Man, I haven't skipped a beat at all, man, but I appreciate it.
Definitely. So I want to give you an opportunity to share with the folks who you are, what you got going on. We'll get a little bit into what you're doing in the business today, in the world of our pandemic situation. But tell the folks who you are, man. Give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay. Well, most of y'all already know me, but my name is Justin Shipp. I'm the owner of Chaotic Real Estate Solutions. I've been in this business right at 4 years now. Before real estate, I actually did several things. I've tried to open up several companies before that failed. But right before I got into real estate, yeah, right before I got into real estate, I was actually running a powder coating and paint shop. I did painting cars and powder coating different parts for cars, stuff like that. Before that, tried to open up a hitch cover company where I was selling hitches for vehicles. Before that, a furniture company where I was trying to build custom furniture. I did motorcycle building for a couple years, building custom bikes. Before that, I did professional stunt riding for a couple years. And then even before that, I was actually a CDL truck driver. So, I've done a little bit of everything, and
wow.
never really had anything that, felt like it was my passion, other than the stunt riding. I was pretty passionate about that, but, can't do that forever. Me and my old boss, we had some kind of falling outs when I was running the powder coating shop, and we ended up splitting ways, and I decided that real estate was going to be my next venture. I had a buddy of mine named Benny that kind of introduced me to real estate, and I kind of started off slow, just kind of trying to learn as much as I could. And after about 3 to 6 months of just going to meetups and talking to people and just kind of diving in, learning, I decided, okay, this is definitely something I think I want to do. So I jumped right in, and I did my first wholesale deal and made $3,600 on my first deal. And then I did a couple more wholesale deals over the next 2 or 3 months. And then I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to jump into trying to flip some houses. So
got bit by the bug, huh?
Yeah, I did 3 house flips and lost my ass. I did not do well on those 3 flips, and I decided that I was going to kind of swing back around to the wholesaling and try to focus on that until I get better and more understanding of how to do the flips correctly. So I've been now doing wholesaling for 3.5 years solid. My first year, I did just over 40 wholesale transactions.
Wow.
Second year, I did about 65, 70 almost. And then last year, I don't know how many I did, but it was a lot.
Wow. Yeah. That's a
And
good problem to have.
it was a lot.
Look, don't tell the IRS that you don't know how many you did.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with it, but it's been a pretty good bit.
Good
But
stuff. Good
last
stuff.
year was my last year working by myself and wholesaling it. Up until this point this year, really up until January of this year, I was pretty much a one-man show. I would do JVs with other guys, and I had my wife helping me. But for the most part, it was just me working by myself. But last year, I made $240,000 working by myself,
Wow.
doing wholesaling only. I think I did 2 flips last year that were small hotel flips. But other than that, I just primarily wholesaled. This year, we're changing things drastically. I partnered with my good friend Jacques Pierre in January.
Mm-hmm.
I used to own Chaotic Realty. We converted it to Chaotic Real Estate Solutions. And me and him partnered up, 50-50 partners in this new company venture.
Good
and we opened up an office right here in Ackworth and hired 5 cold callers and 2 acquisition managers and a disposition manager and accountant. And now we're moving on and bigger and better things, man. Right now, we've really been ramping up our marketing, trying to get out of the day-to-day activities that we were doing before. So, all of last year I was spending probably 70 or 80 hours a week, probably driving for dollars, researching, putting in offers, door knocking, calling, doing pretty much everything myself. Hey, give me one moment. Turn it down just a little bit, buddy. Okay. Got my son in the room with me. He's got his tablet on here, so I told him to lower it down. But yeah, basically we're trying to get out of this day-to-day activity that we were doing, of working 70 hours a week. I was doing really good, making a lot of money that way, but eventually, you get tired out of being in that day-to-day activity every single day, day in and day out. So now we're building a team and we're trying to get to that next level. So
good stuff. Good stuff. Now, I mean, you said the last 3 years you've been exclusively doing wholesaling. And you said something in there, and I want to make sure folks understand what you said. Just to clarify, you said you did a few hotel deals, right?
Yep.
So folks that are watching, they probably thinking you flipped at the Hyatt or the Regency Hotel or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I clarify that. So there's occasionally, you come across houses where they don't need enough work for you to decide not to skip out and not do it yourself. Mm-hmm. So like there's a couple houses last year where the numbers were so good on it and it didn't need as much work as what, majority of these flips and stuff that we do, have. So I decided to flip them myself. So like, for example, there was a house we bought last year. I think it was, I think I got under contract at like 64,000. I put like $7,000 into it and then sold it for like 85 or 90. I can't remember. But it was enough for me to be like, you know what, I could quickly wholesale this for, like a $5,000 profit. Or I could, put, 5 or 10 in it and make a $20,000 profit, so that's what I did. And then there was another one where I think I bought it for 42,000. I did like a $6,000 cleanup on the property. I literally landscaped it and did a junk out cleanup. And I had an insurance claim on the roof from the previous seller. And then I turned around and it's the day before closing. I did a little bit of work on the house, like just painting some trim and stuff, just making it look a little bit more appealing. Then I closed on it using transactional funding for like a 7-day period. I listed it on MLS and it sold within 3 days.
Wow.
And then I think I made like $20,000 on that deal. So it was a really, really good deal. So like anytime I can, make a couple extra $1,000 just by doing some real quick work, that's what I'll do. I mean, I had a house last year that I sold to a good friend of mine, Brandon Thompson, and the house was, I think, $34,000, and it looked like crap. I mean, it had like 10-foot tall grass, like you couldn't even see the house.
Wow.
So I rented a 0-turn mower, and I went over there and I cut the grass. And I sent him a picture before, and I said, "Hey, you interested in this?" He was like, "Dude, I wouldn't give you $30,000 for that." And I was like, dang. So then I went over there and I cut the grass and everything and cleaned it up. And then I sent him a picture. I was like, hey, man, I got a deal for you right here. I said, I'll take 48,000 for it or something like that. And he goes, oh, that's nice. He goes, where's that at? And so I was like, it's the same address I sent you last week. He's like, man, I'll buy that now. It looks way better cut with the grass cut. So, I mean, anytime you can do easy things that can make the house look better and stuff, I mean, you'd be surprised at the results you get. So I always encourage people, if they have the cash and funds to do it, at least cut the grass and clean out the house if it has a lot of junk in it. I mean, it makes a huge difference to an investor, because some people can't see the vision behind all the junk and everything that they see. They're like, man, it's going to cost me thousands of dollars to get all this junk removed, or thousands of dollars with landscaping. But just cutting the grass and cleaning it up a little bit goes a long way.
Absolutely. And it takes, like you said, it takes having vision to be able to see through something like that. So I want to give folks a little bit of context of what you're talking about. So now, you did mention that you did a few flips, and
yes,
you kind of got lost a little bit in those. I'm gonna minimize the what you lost.
So I'll go ahead and give you a rundown on those two. My first two flips was a package deal. I bought two houses for $80,000 together. Two houses for $80,000, and they were supposed to be worth about $140 a piece.
Oh wow! Okay.
So we were thinking, okay, this is going to be a slam dunk deal. But what we did not know is we didn't have a good contractor to go in there to begin with to check out everything. And once we got in there, we realized that they were both full gut rehabs. Some crackheads had gone in there, cut out all the plumbing and wiring. There was an insane amount of mold in the house behind the sheetrock and stuff that we didn't know about. So basically, by the time we got in there, started cleaning up the house and gutting it and stuff, we realized it was going to cost us almost 20 grand more per house that we thought. So the biggest advice I can give you, on that is when you go in there to actually take down the house to flip it yourself, you definitely want to have it inspected by someone that really knows what they're doing, and have a really good contractor, so you have a solid quote on what it's going to cost you, and have them really look at it good. Because I'd only been in real estate, a few months at that point. So, I didn't really know what I was doing yet. Now I don't have that problem. Now I can go in a house and immediately know it's going to cost me 60 grand or 20 grand to flip that house. So I'm not worried about contractors at this point. I can go in there and estimate myself, now. But when you're first getting started and you don't really know what you're doing, I highly advise you do not try to estimate the repairs yourself. You get in there and have someone that knows what they're doing estimate it for you, because you can really lose your ass on that.
So that's a great point, because several people still make those mistakes even after being involved for some time. So what would you say to someone, like, what was your major aha moment, or what was the transition from first not having a clue of what it costs to repair a house to now you say you can go in and make an estimate, you do an estimate on your own? What was different from then until now to make you now feel more confident about being able to do it?
Honestly, time and experience, man. I mean, like I said, I've wholesaled at this point probably close to 200 houses.
Wow.
In the last 4 years, I've it's probably close to that number. So when you've done that many transactions, you start, realizing a pattern. You hear investors say, oh, it's going to cost me 50 grand for that house, 60 grand for that house. Oh, your numbers are off. That's going to be 20 grand, not 10 grand. And you start walking houses with people and realizing this is going to cost this much, this is going to cost that much. And, with time comes experience. So, I mean, when you do that many transactions, walk that many houses, and I'm not even talking about how many houses I've walked. This is just transactions I've done. As far as houses I've walked, dude, I'm probably in 1,000 houses within the last 4 years. So, I mean, you walked 1,000 houses, you start picking up stuff pretty quick. So before the end of my first year, I was a lot more confident already from the beginning of the year, to the end of the year. But, 4 years later, when you've walked 1,000 houses and done 200 transactions and now I've done about 12 flips total, you understand what the numbers need to look like, and do. And I've done 12 personal flips, but our company and partnering with other investors, we've probably done, 20 or 30 flips total.
Got it.
In the last 4 years. So in 4 years, I mean, it all comes down to the experience, and you just got to get out there and do it. Walk some houses, talk to people, and you'll start picking it up and learning it.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So would you say as a wholesaler, it makes sense to learn how to estimate repairs and things like that? Do you think that's important as a wholesaler?
Oh man, absolutely, absolutely. Because if you don't know how to estimate repairs, how are you going to know what to offer? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you suck at repairs and knowing the repairs, you could be overpaying by $100,000 on a house. I mean, think about all these
Absolutely.
people in Atlanta that have houses that are worth $300,000 fixed up,
Yes.
and then some lady says, "Hey, I want $240,000 for my house because it needs repairs," and you think, "Oh, well, that's $60,000 off."
Right.
But you don't know it needs $150,000 rehab to make it get there. So
Definitely.
I mean, you could really lose your ass if you don't know what you're talking about and you don't know how to estimate repairs. I mean, I highly, highly invest in learning and experience. And anytime I can, I talk to people, ask them questions, and even still today, there's always something to learn. No one knows everything.
Real
And
stuff. Real stuff.
so,
Yeah.
the more you can hang around people that do know what they're doing, and ask questions to them, the better you're going to be off. And I highly recommend, if you have, contractor buddies or real estate friends that have been in it a lot longer, at least on your first couple of walkthrough houses when you're making offers, have them meet you out there, pay them for their time, buy them dinner, buy them lunch, something, but get them out there so you can kind of start understanding how to do those repairs. I mean, you're not going to learn everything in the first couple deals, but you'll at least get a kind of at least an idea. So like with our acquisition guys that we have on now, we always just kind of go by a formula. We just give them like a super low ball offer to give the seller. And if they take it, great. And if they don't, we always say, okay, well, can one of our guys meet you out there so we can evaluate the property before giving an offer? And that's when I go out there, or one of our other guys go out there. And we've taken some of our acquisition guys on walkthroughs just so we can show them, what we're looking for. Hey, you see this kitchen? This kitchen is super outdated. It's going to need a full update. On average, that's like $8,000.
Right.
Oh, this bathroom over here needs a full update. You could probably get away with doing it for like $2,500, $3,000. We're going to tell them, it needs like a $5,000 renovation in the bathroom. Now the entire, floors in the house, that's going to cost another $4,000, paint, another $4,000, roof, another $6,000. And then you slowly start telling them, on average what something costs, and, they start picking it up, and then they kind of have an idea when they're talking to sellers on the phone. Hey, what's the condition of your house? When was the last time the roof was replaced? When was the last time the AC was replaced? When was the last time, you did any updates to the kitchen or bathrooms or paint or anything like that? And then they can start marking those off. Okay, we need to offer this minus this, and this. So it really, really helps when you kind of have that stuff on the back of your head and know what you're talking about.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Actually, someone asked a question, and we'll definitely get to that because I want to make sure we share that information. But it's very good that you shared with. Is my camera? Hopefully, my camera's not disconnecting. Yeah, no, it's very good information that you shared with the folks about being able to walk properties and learn how to estimate repairs and things like that. Because oftentimes I've seen a lot of wholesalers, believe it or not, get into the business and they tell people that they don't necessarily need to learn how to do the repairs or learn the cost of the repairs, because the person that's going to buy the property is going to estimate the repairs on their own anyway. Which, of course, which is, of course, what will happen. Everyone has to do their own due diligence. But what we want to make sure people understand is, in order for you to make the best deal possible, not only for you, but as well as the person that's buying, it would be in good, it would make sense for you to learn how to do the repairs.
Absolutely.
Not how to do the repairs, but at least to estimate the repairs, so you know what you should pay versus what you should sell it for.
Absolutely. And kind of to piggyback off that too, every investor is going to be slightly different on what they're wanting to do. I have investor friends of mine that they do only high end flips, and I have other ones that do low end flips, and ones that kind of do in the middle. And some of them, they take every property personal, and they want to put like their absolute highest and best, upgrades and stuff in that house because that's their name, that's their brand. So
Right.
someone that does that versus someone that just want to do a quick flip, obviously there could be a huge, huge difference in repair estimates versus, from each other. I mean, one of them might say, oh, it needs only a $20,000 rehab. The other one says it needs 40. So
Right.
at least having that broad range of kind of an estimate between those two will help you to at least know kind of where you need to be at on that offer to the seller at the very least. You can't even get close if you're like, oh, I don't think it needs any repairs. It's move-in ready, but it may be move-in ready, but it needs, the whole house needs to be updated. You're just going to be appealing to different investors, depending on what you're doing. Some investors, are looking for only rentals and they don't really give a shit if it's fixed up or not. And then other ones are like, man, that house needs fully updated from head to toe. And you're like, I see wholesalers all the time defending themselves like, it's move-in ready, don't need nothing. And you're like, it's too high. It needs fully updated. No, it fits the roll. Like, it's not my fault you got it under contract too high, but you got it under contract too high. And that's what you got to understand is you're looking for the best deal possible. You're not looking for an okay deal because anybody can find an okay deal. You're looking for a great deal. And it is it's getting harder and harder to find great deals.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this pandemic has actually helped us get some really good deals. People are nervous. People lost their jobs. People need money. They're liquidating assets just so they can put some money in their account for a buffer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to have to pay taxes on it or worry about anything, 6 months down the road. We locked up a deal 2 weeks ago for $37,000. It's worth $145,000.
Wow.
And it's a great, great deal. We
locked up how are you doing that? How are you doing that? Why isn't everybody able to get deals like you're getting them? What's happening to these people?
There's several things, really. For one, we market to a lot more people than your average wholesaler company or real estate investor. I mean, most real estate investors are only looking at like one or two, marketing ways, or they're only marketing to, a couple of thousand people a month or whatever. We market to, on average, 60,000 people a month.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're hitting people with cold calling, text messaging, RVMs. We're doing direct mail. We're about to start doing Facebook advertising as well.
So you said 60,000 people a month you're marketing to. What are you doing? And of course, if it's proprietary information, we don't want you to disclose Chaotic Real Estate Solutions secrets. But if you could share, I mean, if it's something that you could share, if not, that's fine. How are you marketing to 60,000 people as opposed to the 5,000 that the regular people are marketing to?
Honestly, we just have the money to market.
And it's that simple in many cases.
But we're marketing, like I said, we have 5 cold callers that are calling on average 2,000 to 3,000 people a day.
Right.
Between the 5 of them. And then we have a lead manager that handles all of our text campaigns. So they're texting about 150 to 200 people per hour.
Wow.
And then on top of that, like I said, we do direct mail on occasion. What we do is we pull a list of like 60,000 people in the state of Georgia that are either vacant, absentee owner, whatever the case may be. We also do pre-foreclosures. We've kind of slowed down on the pre-foreclosures right now since they're kind of put on halt anyway.
Right.
We figured we'd kind of wait another month before we start hitting them because that's when it's going to get closer to that forbearance and all that stuff. But honestly, man, we're just hitting everybody with multiple ways of marketing to them. And then the ones that are motivated, we're going to talk to. And we're only going to focus on those motivated sellers.
Right.
On top of that, we have a team of different wholesalers that I've trained, people that I've trained to do wholesaling, where they go around, they do driving for dollars. And whenever they get a property that they need help with, I help them personally and we split it 50-50. So we can do that too. So we're getting a lot of organic leads through Facebook, a lot of organic leads through other wholesalers that are kind of new to the industry that we can help and partner with. And then on top of that, like I said, we're hitting 60,000 people a month. And on that, like this month alone, we have 17 houses under contract.
Wow.
So we have 17 houses under contract and we're doing 2 flips right now. So we have 2 flips. One of them's in Rockmart, one of them's in Dallas. So whenever you're talking about, marketing, you just got to make sure you get in front of as many people as possible. That way, you have the higher chance of, picking up a deal. I mean, it's a numbers game in all sense of the word. I mean, if you only talk to 100 people, you only have 100 chances to lock up a deal. You're talking to 60,000 people, you have 60,000 chances to lock up a deal. So the numbers are a lot more favorable.
And that makes sense. I always understand that the more people who can actually spend the most on acquiring a customer are the ones, of course, that are going to get the highest return. Mm-hmm. So for the person who doesn't have a budget of, whatever it costs to be in front of 60,000 people, what is some information that you would share with them about how they can get to the point of being able to do that?
Man, I'll tell you what really helped me when I first started out was driving for dollars. And I know everybody is kind of like against that because they're like, it's a huge time factor and all that stuff. But if you're just getting into the industry and you don't have a lot of money, I have locked up so many deals from driving around and then door knocking on people's houses. You can really get a lot of deals. I mean, I was averaging 3 or 4 deals a month all of last year. And I pretty much I did not have anybody working for me at all. It was just me and my wife. I would pull a list of vacant houses. I would go by those vacant houses and look and make sure that they're verify that they're vacant. Mm-hmm. And then I would skip trace them on the state tax assessor website, make sure that they see where their forwarding address is. And then I would just, if they're within an hour of their drive, I would just drive straight to their house and I would knock on their door and say, hey man, your house over here in Douglasville is vacant, or your house over here in Cobb is vacant. I was wanting to see if you had any interest in selling it. Mm-hmm. And I locked up a lot of deals that way.
Wow.
I mean, I'd say I locked up more deals that way, organically, just driving around and door knocking, than any other lead source that I have. I mean, even if you look at the numbers in general, if we're marketing 60,000 people and we're locking up, we got like 13 to 17 deals a month, but I was driving and only probably talking to maybe 100 people a month and getting 3 or 4 deals. If you look up the return on investment, my return on investment was much, much, much higher doing that.
Absolutely. Averaging it out. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just don't have the time to do that. And so I do it occasionally. I get bored sitting in the office all the time now. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I'm a people person. I like to be out. I like to go around. I like to, see the world and kind of have adventures. So I love going around looking at vacant houses. I love going and talking to people in person. I feel like it's a lot easier to lock up a deal when you're talking to someone face to face versus on the phone. And to me, people seeing your personality and the energy and stuff, it really helps you to, get that message across that, man, I really want to buy your house. And what can we do today to, make that happen? And man, I can't even tell you how many times I've knocked on a door and got a contract like that day. Wow. It's been a lot. So, there was a deal last year. I'll go ahead and tell you this one real quick. There was actually a deal last year I got under contract in Cobb County. I went to this house I saw it driving for dollars. There was probably 10 "We Buy Houses" signs in the front yard. No joke. Like every investor had put a sign in this guy's yard. I went to the door. There was about 500 business cards on that guy's door. Like I'm talking, people stapled signs and stuff to the door and stuff. I mean, it was clearly wanted. And I was like, man, I wonder why this guy ain't selling. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I looked him up and he lived in Villa Rica. I was like, man, that's an hour drive. I was like, screw it. I don't got nothing else to do today. So I just jumped in my truck. I drove straight to the guy's house, door knocked on him. He came to the door. I asked him, if he was the owner of the house in Marietta. He said, yeah, I am. I said, well, can I come in and talk to you for just a moment about it? I'm really interested in buying it. He goes, yeah, man, come on in. Mm-hmm. So I came in. He was real nice. He goes, can you hold on just about, 1 or 2 minutes? I said, yeah, sure. He goes, I'll be right back. He comes back with a shoebox. He opens up the shoebox and dumps on the floor. There was about 500 flyers in that shoebox. Wow. With We Buy Houses flyers and stuff. And I was like, whoa. He goes, man, I get letters every single day about that freaking house. He goes, but you're the first person to ever come to my house and knock on it. He goes, so I'm going to go ahead and sell you the house just because you're the only one that's actually motivated to come talk to me in person. He goes, I can't stand. he goes, I can't stand talking on the phone. I can't stand lazy people that just send a flyer in the mail. He goes, I like the fact that you came here to talk to me. I said, yeah, man, I'm very interested in the property. He goes, well, make me an offer on it. I made him an offer, and he took the offer right on the spot. And then the next day, he said, I ain't going to sign no contract today. I want you to look at the house first in person. Meet me there tomorrow morning. So he met me there the next day. We looked at the house. I brought a contract. We signed it on the spot at the house. I sold that house 2 weeks later for a $15,000 profit.
Wow.
I mean, it sold quick. I could have probably sold it for a lot more than that.
Probably could have, especially with all that interest. I'd have called some of those folks on those postcards.
But I'm telling you, man, I mean, the biggest thing in this industry is that people are lazy and they want the easiest way to get a deal.
True.
And I mean, even me, I do too. Like
we all do.
I'm trying to get out of it and trying to have, a team of guys. That's why me and Jock are building this business to make it as automated as possible. But the best deals I've ever gotten came from me door knocking. And those are the deals that a lot of people are missing out on because a lot of companies are not door knocking. A lot of companies are not taking that initiative to drive an hour away to go knock on a door. A lot, you might order a 60,000 list of leads and skip trace them, and it costs you $7 or $8 grand. And then you call them all, and how many numbers on that list are either wrong numbers or bad numbers, or maybe you can't even skip trace them and find a number. I mean, we when we order 60,000 skip traces, we probably have at least 2,000 or 3,000 on that list that they could not skip trace at all.
Right.
So those 2,000 or 3,000, we typically will skip trace them a little bit further and we'll direct mail them. Well, if we don't direct mail them, I mean, or even if we do direct mail them and they don't say, when they just throw our flyer in the mailbox, or their flyer in the trash can, we're still not going to get that deal. But if someone was to get that 2,000 or 3,000 lists and then they go and door knock every single house, I guarantee you they'd get a few deals off of it. Because it shows a lot bigger initiative.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's very important to have that organization of people that works with you that can help with getting out to get to those houses. Because of course, like you said, we all want the easiest way to be able to accomplish the same thing. Of course, I'm not going to drive to 3,000 houses. That's not going to happen. But even from that perspective, like you said, you went to the one house and you made $15,000, right? So looking at something like that, it does take some initiative. It does take some effort to be put in, unless, of course, you have a machine in place that will be able to do a lot of those things for you.
That's right.
So
that's right.
And one thing that you also shared is something that a lot of investors, a lot of wholesalers don't, in my opinion, don't really pay attention to, is the marketing dollars. Like you said, you might pay $7,000 to $8,000 to skip trace, 60,000 leads. But at the end of the day, one of those deals out of 60,000, one of those deals is going to pay for your marketing, right? And then the rest of it is all profit from that point.
That's right.
So it's very important that people understand that the importance of putting money into your business to be able to get the return on it is what people need.
That's right, because just like this business, it ain't no different than really flipping a house. Absolutely. You're gonna buy a house for $100,000, put it in 20, and then sell it for 160. That $40,000 profit, that's your return on investment. Absolutely. Same thing with wholesaling. If you put in $10,000 to market to 20,000 people, and then you get a deal and it makes you 15 grand, and then you get another deal and it makes you 10 grand or another 20 grand or something. That's your return on investment. You have to put money in to make money. Absolutely. Now, when you're first starting out, obviously you may not have the money or the time. So you got to figure out, which one you have more of. Do you have more money or do you have more time? And if you have more time, then you just got to get out there and hustle. And that's all it comes down to. How motivated are you to make money? I mean, because when I got started, I was super motivated. I was super hungry, and I hustled every day, and I made sure I got deals. So if you have that motivation and that hustle, you're gonna make money. You just got to get out there, learn it, and do it.
So you say motivation and hustle. That's not what's being told to the people who said they can get into this business with no money down and no credit. Most folks don't actually balance that out with having to have the motivation and the hustle.
Yeah.
What do you say to those types of situations?
Man, I don't even know what to say because I've never had that. I've never had that problem. I've always been motivated. I've always been hungry, and I've always been had that hustle mindset. But
Hmm.
I mean, if you want something bad enough, you're going to figure out a way to get it. So
True. True.
even if you're not that hungry and motivated, maybe you have the technology aspect of it. Maybe you're really, really smart and can figure out the the organization part of it. Maybe you
Hmm.
need to find someone that evens you out too. Like maybe you find someone that's opposite you. That's kind of what me and Jock did. He's kind of like the opposite of me, you know.
Hmm.
So he handles all the day to day business aspect stuff. He handles the trainings and the handling all the podio stuff because I'm stuck at technology, and I
Hmm.
handle negotiating, hustling, getting shit done, marketing,
Right.
branding, like
Right.
getting our stuff out there where we know we can make something happen. So like we kind of balance each other out. So I kind of say to those people, the people that may not have that hustle mindset or that motivational mindset, find someone that does, partner with them. You
Hmm.
do you do one thing, let them do the other, and y'all work together and you figure it out together. I think it really helps when you have a team. And if you don't have a team, at least have a partner because it really does help you when you have that responsibilities and stuff split up and you can really balance your time better. Um,
Real stuff.
and if you don't have either one of those or you don't want to partner with somebody, then you better probably wait till you have some money so you can start hiring some people.
That
But
was that
I
was
don't
what I was looking
recommend
at too.
I really don't recommend, starting out big. I mean, you really got to learn the business. I believe that you got to be one of those people that's in the business and learn the business before you grow
Mhm.
the business. It
Definitely.
took me a long time to realize that, but it really helps because when you're starting to build a team and you know what you're doing and you've done it and you have a proven record of doing it, it will help because then you can have all that advice to give to your team members. You can really walk them through almost any and every scenario because you've already done it.
Right. Right. Right.
Whereas if you don't know anything, I think it's going to be a lot harder for you to get up and going and really grow and excel in this business.
Hmm.
So I don't know, but right now business is booming, man. I'm telling you. I don't know how everybody else is doing in the Atlanta market or around the country, but I mean, Chaotic Real Estate Solutions, we have been killing it since the pandemic. The first the first week and a half, 2 weeks was kind of slow. We were kind of nervous. We were like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And
Hmm.
then by week 3, we just kept moving and just kept pushing our money out and hoping that something stuck.
Hmm.
And by week 4, man, we were knocking out contracts left and right, and we haven't stopped since. I mean, now we have had a little bit of a harder time selling some of our properties,
Hmm.
but the ones that we've had trouble with, we just went ahead and bought them. So we're like,
Hmm.
screw it. If no one else is going to buy them, we'll just buy them and flip them ourselves. So
Makes sense.
we got a couple of properties that we're flipping right now. We actually just closed on another one. Um, let's see, what's the day? Wednesday. We closed on Monday on one in Conyers that we're about to start a flip on too. So we got 2 flips going right now. We got a third flip about to start. And like I said, we got like 17 contracts on the board right now. So I mean, it's not slowing down for us. I mean,
Great stuff. Great stuff.
the biggest
How are
thing.
you finding? You said you people are slowing down on buying. So do you have a set amount of people, a set group of people that regularly buy from you, or do you search for people to buy from you on a random basis?
So we have a VIP buyers list.
Hmm.
It's about 25 investors that we work with more frequently than others.
Hmm.
We also have 2 hedge funds that are also on that VIP buyers list. So we send usually to those people first, and then we give them 24 hours to bid on the property and give us the highest and best offer. Then from there, we email blast it to
Hmm.
750 investors within the Metro Atlanta area that we know and have either talked to before or they have messaged us or sent their email to us at some point. So after that 750 people gets email blasted, we will then usually blast out once or twice more just to make sure that everybody was able to see it and bid on it. And then we'll kind of make a decision on what we're going to do from that point. Usually, if we don't get no bites within like the first 2 or 3 days, we start pushing it out on Facebook, Craigslist, Connected Investors, and Bigger Pockets. But typically, we never get to 3 days. I mean, it's very rare for us to get to 3 or 4 days out. Now, some Lately we have though. Lately, I mean, we had a couple of them that we JV'd on, and we've been blasting them out for 2 weeks and haven't had no bites. So we might end up buying a couple of those as well, but we'll see what happens. Usually what we'll do is if we don't have no bites within the first 7 days, we go back to the seller and we try to renegotiate and try to get it even lower. Or we decide that we're going to just take it down ourselves if it makes sense.
Got it. Okay. No, that's great stuff. I mean, and you know, this is stuff that's helpful for people to understand. Like, even in the midst of everything that's happening, wholesaling is still a viable business, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, some people have looked at, you know, backing out of the business. You know, some people have been talking about shutting down their wholesaling operations.
I hope they do.
I don't wish any bad on anybody. I hope they all stay in the business. But if they don't, you know, that's okay too. but no, I mean, and it's because of not having the types of systems in place, because of not having more of a business aspect behind it. You know, most people understand that this is really a business. You know, like you talked about investing in the business and, you know, investing in the leads and things like that. Oftentimes people don't set aside funds for things like that.
That's right.
What they do is they hope for the next deal to happen. You know, they'll get 2 under contract and pray that one closes, or they'll get 1 under contract and don't focus on any other deals, as opposed to that one, just that one. And if that one doesn't happen, then that's pretty much the end of the business for them, you know. But what you said is it's important to have a lot of things in the pipeline. So if 1 or 2 fall out, or 3 or 4 fall out, you're not really running frantic, because you have built this as a business, which is very important. And, you know, shameless plug, I talk about building this as a business in my quick start guide that you can get in the link below or above, whatever.
Awesome.
Quick start guide, you know, some I've actually been writing for, you know, a little over a year, but this time of slowdown has actually given me the opportunity to promote it now. And it was supposed to come out on Amazon, but, you know, I decided I'm gonna give it away for $1. So for those of you that are watching, go ahead and click the link, go over and buy it for $1. It's most of all the information that we're talking about here today about this as a business. And oftentimes people get that idea that you said you can get in no money, no credit. They come running in with no money and no credit, and not recognize that it's going to take time if you don't have money. It's going to take hustle if you don't have money, and it's going to take that motivation and the big why. You know, a lot of times people get started, and if it falls apart and they don't have a big enough reason why they're doing it, then that's another reason why people get out of the business. But I believe that the main thing that people make the mistake of is they get into this business just for the money.
That's right. That's right.
Which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, because this business definitely can make you money. However, if the first time you don't make money and you miss the mark and then you quit, then you were doing it for all the wrong reasons, in my opinion, in the first place.
Yeah, and I see it all the time. There's a lot of people on all these Facebook groups and stuff that, you know, they're like, man, I've been doing this for 2 weeks and I haven't got no deal yet, and I think I'm ready to give up. And I'm like, 2 weeks? Like, you haven't even had time to learn anything yet.
Exactly.
And then I've also seen other people where it's, hey, I've been doing this for a year and a half and haven't got a deal yet. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how are you not getting a deal after a year and a half? You're doing something wrong. Reach out to me, because if I can help someone that's been, if they're motivated enough to keep trying after a year and a half, they probably need to stay in this business, because they obviously have the motivation to do it. They're just not learning something right, or they're not doing something correct. Right. Which is something I would be happy to help them with, because I want to see everybody succeed in it. You know, if they're hungry enough, then I want to see them make it.
And I appreciate that. So I want to give you an opportunity to extend to the folks, you know, how they can get in contact with you. You know, if they're looking at ways to, you know, kind of accomplish what you're accomplishing, you know, because I'm, you know, I certainly want to help people see that this is a viable option, but you have to treat it as a business, as opposed to just, you know, just this side thing that if it works and I make $100, I might stay in, but if I don't make 10,000, I'm quitting.
Yeah, I know. And that's another thing I see too a lot on some of these Facebook groups and stuff, and it's people being greedy. Like when you're first starting out, you cannot be greedy. Take what you can get and move on to the next deal. Keep learning, because eventually you can start being a little bit more greedy. But when you're first starting out, you just need to learn. You need to learn as much as you can and make some deals happen. Get your feet wet. And I see people. If I'm not making at least $20,000 on a deal, I'm not doing it. And you're like, what?
Right.
Like, are you fucking stupid? Like, come on, man. And then, and another thing I see too is, people that are trying so hard to make a deal that they do things the wrong way. Like, and a lot of that, when I get into that, I'm talking more about the daisy chain and stuff. They'll like literally just see a deal.
Talk about it. Yeah.
And then I'm going to throw $5 or $10 on that thing because I'm so hungry for a deal. I'm not going to say nothing. And then they start marketing other people's properties, and then they look stupid, and then it ruins their reputation right off the gate.
Right.
Don't do that. Go find your own deal. Get out there. Do not be lazy. Get out there. Get a deal made. And I promise you, if you can market your own deals and be the direct source to the seller and stuff, and start building a reputation for yourself, it will pay off in huge dividends in the long run. And eventually you can do daisy chains, or not daisy chains, but you can do JVs, and it be done correctly, and you can sell other people's deals that way. Where I have people that reach out to me all the time that they don't even market to buyers at all. Like, they literally do not market to anybody. They just immediately send it to me and go, hey, Justin, can you sell this deal for me? Because they know I'll get it sold, and they don't have to worry about it. Eventually you might be able to get that, that could be your business model. Kind of like Keegley, where they basically market everybody else's deals for them. That's a good reputable company and a good business model. It's just not our business model. We primarily focus on, being direct to seller, with the occasional JV kind of thrown in there when it makes sense. But yeah, I highly advise everybody, don't be daisy chaining. It will really ruin your reputation quickly. It makes you look amateur, and kind of frankly, it'll make you look dumb, because people, will come back there and they'll be like, hey, I've seen this 5 other times from 5 other wholesalers at different prices. Are you direct on this? And you say, no, it's my business partner. And they hear it from 5 other people. Hey, that's my business partner. How many business partners do you have? And it just makes you look stupid.
While you're in it, and for the folks that are maybe watching that have no clue of what you're talking about as it relates to daisy chains, can you kind of break that down and tell us what is a daisy chain and what's good or bad about it?
So daisy chaining in the sense is when someone posts up their deal, let's say on Facebook, like say you're in a Facebook group and someone posts up a deal asking $70,000 for it or whatever. And you literally just copy all that information on that house and you send it to your buyers without their permission at $75,000, hoping that you'll sell it to somebody else. So you're literally basically stealing someone else's deal, blasting it out to your buyers as if it was your deal. And if they end up saying, yeah, they'll take it, then you basically make that extra, then you go to that other seller and say, hey, I got a buyer for, for 75, let's go ahead and get this deal done. Whereas the right way to do it would be to reach out to that wholesaler or investor that has the property and tell them straight up, hey, I may have a buyer for this property. Is it okay if I add a few $1,000s on top, or is there enough profit in there for me to, if I bring a buyer to you, is there enough profit for me to, maybe make a couple of $1,000s on it and you pay me out of your cut? Which that's how we do it. If we find a property, if we see a property that we think we might be able to move, we just reach out to the seller and we say, hey, look, we might have a buyer for this property. How much wiggle room do you have on this thing? What do you have it under contract for? If some of them won't tell you what they have it under contract for. They'll just get mad at you. Like, I ain't telling you how much I got under contract for. Okay, that's not a big deal. Whatever. But some of them, I want to be transparent as possible. So like, if someone reaches out to me and says, hey, what do you have it under contract for? I'm like, we can either do one of two things. I can either give you this much money, or we can give you this much percent. Right. And that's what you got to do. You just got to reach out to them and say, hey, look, if I bring a buyer for your property, is there enough room for me to make, $5,000 on it or something? Oh no, I only got it under contract at 70. I'm trying to sell for 75. obviously, there might not be enough room in there for them to really make anything. And if they have a lot of overhead or anything like that. So in that case, they're going to have to either go back and get a price reduction, or they're going to have to take a little bit lower money, or not cut you in, and you have to raise the price at that point. But I always encourage people not to daisy chain. Definitely don't post deals that aren't yours without permission. If you get caught posting one of our deals without permission, you're like blocked. Like you ain't working with us at all. Like just don't do it. And that's what's going to happen with a lot of people is, and a lot of these gurus, man, I don't know what they're exactly teaching nowadays, but I mean, some of these people are like teaching that you should, just daisy chain everybody's stuff. And I don't understand who's teaching it, but man, it seems like I reach out to a bunch of wholesalers that I'm like, hey man, I got this under contract. Why are you marketing it? Mm-hmm. Oh, my business partner has under contract. Can I see your contract? Oh no, and they like, they don't know what to say. They don't have a contract. They just marketing it.
Right.
So
it's been so much of that going on over the last few years. I mean, like some people have had that as their business model.
I know.
Like their business model is not to go and look for properties. And this is there. I kind of spoke on this earlier. When you have a wholesaler who is not even interested in the cost of repairs, they're not interested in a real ARV. Their hopes is that the deal that they found online or in an email that they've gotten will somehow or another suffice to add $5,000 or $10,000 on top, and send an email out to or post on Facebook or Craigslist and just hope for the best.
Yeah, I see this a lot too, man. I see where these newer wholesalers, they don't know how to run comps correctly as well. And so not only are their ARVs incorrect, but their repair estimates are incorrect. So the whole deal just is like a forced deal where it don't make sense at all. In fact, one that I seen the other day, I'm going to put it in the comments right here because it's kind of funny. I don't have I have the host chat. I don't have the public chat. But I'm going to post it up right here. It was the guy sent it to me. He said the comps were 220K ARV. And then he said the repair estimate was 30,000 repairs. And he was asking 140. Yeah, I think that was what it was. Somewhere around that range. I was like, oh man, that don't look too bad. That looks like a pretty good deal. So then I ran comps. The highest comp was 180K, 189K. The house needed more like 50K worth of work. And he was asking 140. So it's like, dude, you're like $20,000 over the ARV. Like, what are you doing? Like it just don't make no sense, man. Like some of these people, they force numbers. I was looking at the comps. It was like the house was like 1,000 square foot, and he was comparing it to houses a mile away that were 2,400 square foot. And you're like, yeah, your ARV is way off, dude. You can't use those as ARV. But those are the highest priced houses in the neighborhood. No, that's not even in the same neighborhood. It's a mile away. And another guy sent me one yesterday in my email. I didn't even reply to it, but it was 800 square foot house. He was asking 40,000 for it. He said the comps were 140. Mm-hmm. And then when I looked at the comps were like 1,500 square foot houses, and they were like almost a mile away. So you're talking about comps that just don't make sense. You can't compare a house that's double in size and then try to, and then he was saying he only needed a $50,000 rehab. Well, maybe to do the house in the same square footage, but then you're going to have to add square footage to even get that comp. So you're looking at maybe 90 to 100. So it don't even make no sense, So this kind of circles back to our original conversation at the beginning where, it really helps when you know your numbers. You have got to know how to run comps, and you've got to know how to repair, how to estimate repairs. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, if you're going to wholesale, assume you're buying that property. Like I want you to assume that you're buying this property for yourself. Like do not even think about selling it to nobody. Assume that you have the cash and that you're going to buy this property. What does it make sense for you to buy that? Are you going to buy a house where you're forcing the comps and forcing the repair estimates to be way lower than they actually are? Yeah, probably not. You're probably gonna make sure that the repair estimate's a little bit higher than you're expecting, and you're gonna probably go by the lowest ARV comps just to confirm, just to make sure that you're safe. And that's what wholesalers need to do. If they're gonna be running numbers, do not use the highest comps in the neighborhood. Use the lowest comps in the neighborhood. Right. Use the highest repair estimates you can, and then go to the seller and get that price at the price you needed at from that point. Then, if you go to an investor, it's going to look like a solid deal if they are using the highest comps and lower estimate. Then they're going to be like, "Wow, this is a really solid deal."
Hey man, I knew you had to come on this show for a reason.
I appreciate it, man.
Because what you're talking about, I think, are a major components of what people that get into this business miss. Right? Mm-hmm. What you said. I mean, just that one statement alone as look at the property as if you're going to buy it yourself, right?
Yep.
That takes out about, and I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, but that takes out about 50% of new wholesalers.
It does. Because most of them aren't looking at that. They're just saying, man, how can I finagle somebody to buy this? That's what they're doing.
Exactly.
and why I look at it is the better the deal is, and the more reputable your name is, the farther you're going to go in this business. And eventually, you don't want to wholesale your whole life. I don't think. Most people don't. But if you so our point is we're trying to build this wholesaling company to be automated to the point where we can step out of it. And Jock's wanting to get into doing land development and like major developments, like build apartment complexes and subdivisions, stuff like that. And I'm wanting to get into doing I want to do coaching and mentoring, and I want to get into flipping more houses.
Great stuff.
So, I mean, and then eventually I want to open up more companies. Like, and a lot of people haven't heard me say this yet. I posted about it back in January, and then this COVID-19 crap went away and stuff, kind of screwed up my plans. But I'm in the process right now of opening up a mortgage brokerage as well. So, once this COVID-19 kind of settles down a little bit more, I've already got my LLC. I've already got all my bonds and licensing and stuff. Other than the only thing I don't have is my mortgage broker's license yet, which I'm going to take the test in a few weeks. And as soon as I get my mortgage brokerage license, we're opening up a mortgage brokerage right here in Dallas, where people, if they're trying to get refinance for their house or want to buy their first time home or something like that, they can come through us. So
that's Dallas, Georgia, right?
Yep, down in Georgia. So right now,
I just want to make sure, folks, you're not talking about Texas.
And in Dallas, Georgia. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm about 45 minutes north of Atlanta. So and I primarily focus in this area surrounding Atlanta. Within about an hour of Atlanta, I go all around the Atlanta metro area. But yeah, I have a business partner named Christy Burke. She's going to be handling most of the stuff on the mortgage brokerage side. So, this is just a stepping stone from, what I'm trying to accomplish though. I started this 4 years ago, grew it to what it is now, keeping on growing it to farther. We're trying to get this to where it's $1 million company, before the end of the year. Then I can step out of that, start growing the mortgage company at that point. Then I can start going into focusing on my coaching and stuff and what I want to do with that. And then, flipping houses and stuff like that, doing more of that. We're trying to get where we're doing more and more flipping houses. Right now, we're only flipping 1 or 2 a month. I want to get to where we're doing flipping maybe 5 or 10 a month at least.
Great stuff.
And then eventually I want to own an apartment complex. And my wife, she's trying to open up a fitness line of like pre-workout supplement stuff. So we're working on that right now too. But yeah, basically, the end goal is to own enough companies and enough streams of income where we are set and don't have to do anything,
Real stuff.
All this stuff automated and just have these businesses on autopilot where we can just enjoy life, because I want to be able to just, hey, I want to go to the lake today. Hey, I want to go ride dirt bikes today. Hey, I want to go skydiving today. I just want to be able to do whatever the hell I want to do.
Real stuff.
And not have to work.
Hey, much respect, man. And listen, that's I think the mentality or the mindset people miss when they get into the business of real estate. And you know, I always like the comments that I talk about when I talk about wholesaling. I always talk about the business of real estate investing, and I think that's what people need to be really paying attention to when they get in, when they step into. People look at coming into wholesaling is, I'm just going to get in and wholesale, and now that's the easy part. Wholesaling is probably the hardest part of the business of real estate, right? Because it's
Mhm.
more like a job because it's transactional, right? But I think people look at it as easy, and they look at it as something that they can do for an extended amount of time and not have an additional plan, you know, such as what you're talking about, using that money to be able to invest in other things, using it as a vehicle to get to the next level, and becoming what I like to call a real life real estate investor.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
so, but yes, hats off to you, man. I salute what you're doing. You know, and you said the word try, and I'm gonna kind of follow along with my brother Ramon Tooks. Like, we don't like to use the word try.
That's
When you
that's right. We do.
said, when
We
you said
do.
your wife is gonna try, you're gonna get it done, man.
Oh,
You're
we're gonna get it
multitasking
done.
to get it done, you know.
Um,
And that's when I want to have you come back on, if not before then. But I definitely want to have you come back on and just talk about the things that you've accomplished, because I definitely see, you know, from me following you and just learning the things about you, I definitely see you being able to accomplish everything you set out to do. You know, so
I also want to touch base real quick. I know time's running short, and we're about to
no,
get
go
off
ahead, do
here.
your thing.
But we in the last couple months we have done quite a few subject to transactions too, and I just wanted to touch base real quick that in this upcoming transition after pandemic, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that. So I encourage everybody to, at least if they don't know anything about subject to transactions or creative financing, lease options, stuff like that, you definitely need to check that out, try to get in on that and try to learn that as much as possible. And we actually, trying to remember real quick, I think it's next Saturday, I'm actually holding a little Zoom meeting thing where we're going to be talking about um, subject twos and creative financing as well. So
Okay.
I'll see if I can look that up real quick for you guys. So y'all have it.
While you're looking that up, somebody asked a question a while back, and I want to see if we can address that. Someone asked, if you have a great contractor, please share their info.
Okay.
I'd
So
be interested in knowing that as well.
um, well, that will depend on your area, because contractors aren't going to just fly around the country. I mean, if you're in California, I can't really recommend a contractor in California.
Right.
So it really is going to depend on what area you're in. If you're in the Dallas, Ackworth, Marietta area, I do have quite a few contractors I could put you in contact with. There's a few other contractors I know around Atlanta. So if you want to, just send me a message on Facebook. My contact info should be on there, or if not, I can try to message you shortly. But send me a message on Facebook. Just let me know what area you're in, and I'll see if I can connect you with one of the contractors I know. As far as us, our personal contractors, we actually have um, we actually have our own in-house contractors. One of my business partners owns a brokerage, and he's actually the owner of CHR Homes, which is a big flipping company over here in the Ackworth, Dallas area as well. And we do partnering up on a lot of houses. So he actually has his own contractor teams that are paid on a salary yearly basis.
Wow.
So they're not paid per job. They're literally on payroll year round to work on all his houses. So we use his guys quite a bit for our personal self, but they're not like available to people. Like we just have direct access because of a relationship with them. But we do have I do have quite a few contractors that I'm good friends with that can help anybody out if they're in the Metro Atlanta area, as far as checking out houses stuff. Now, just so y'all know, I do not recommend wasting contractors' time. Their time is important. They're expecting that if they come out there to get a bid, that they're kind of expecting that they might be getting hired to do that job. So what I would do is either pay them for their time, at least the first couple of times they come out, if you're telling them, and be upfront with them. Say, look, I'm trying to wholesale this property, but I really needed a contractor opinion. I will try my best. If you get if you do this bid on it, I will try my best to see if I can get the buyer to use you for the contract work. And and then you also have a quote that you can give that buyer and say, look, we already have a contractor bid right here. He can do all the work for you for this price. I encourage you to use them, and that might be able to help you as a selling point, because a lot of these specifically newer investors that are trying to get into flipping houses, they may not have the contractor relationships. So they might be like, oh, great, I didn't actually have a contractor lined up. So it might help you in that sense too. But I recommend, posting up on your Facebook. I'm sure everybody knows at least one contractor. Post up on your Facebook, hey, does anybody do contractor? Or does anybody have a handyman that they can come check out? Or if you have friends that are investors, hey, do you mind walking this property? I haven't walked a property before. Or I'm kind of new at this, kind of wanted some second eyes on this house, kind of let me know what the repair estimates are going to be. But at least until you kind of get used to it. But there is other ways too. There's actually, I think Fortune Builders, if anybody's friends with anyone that has Fortune Builders, I believe Fortune Builders actually has a repair estimate sheet where it's like a formula. You put in like the square footage and times it by the age and times it by a certain formula, and it gets you like a basic repair for the entire house, which actually works out pretty good. I actually have a couple of friends that are Fortune Builders, and we've compared, my estimate to their estimate, and they're usually pretty close, like within $5,000. So it's not too far off.
My course comes with that program as well.
There you go. So, yeah, there you go. So just talk to Glenn about it, and he'll hook you up. I know there's a lot of companies and courses and stuff out there that do it, but I knew Fortune Builders did it. But yeah, talk to Glenn. He'll hook you up with a repair estimate sheet. There you go. That's all you need right there. If you use that,
I'll do this. Since Justin put it out there, for anybody that buys the book, for anybody that buys the Quick Start Guide, that watches the show today, send me a message. Let me know that you bought the Quick Start Guide, and I will give you that repair estimate sheet for free.
Awesome. Right? There you go.
If it's a sheet that you plug in the numbers, it'll give you all the repair costs, and it'll tell you what you should be paying for the house and what you should be paying for the house. So,
that's awesome.
Anybody that buys the Quick Start Guide, I'll definitely send that over to you once I get your purchase from the Quick Start Guide. So
awesome.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's great, man.
That's what this is about, and I appreciate you putting that out there, because I love to share information with folks. That's why this Quick Start Guide is $1. I'm like, I probably should have given it away, but
oh my God, I'm gonna have to cash out you a little bit more than that. I'll buy that Quick Start Guide just to give to my acquisition guys. Maybe they can help with it.
So yeah, man, great stuff. The event that you were talking about for subject 2.
Let me look that up real quick. Because
we definitely want to make sure folks get that information. Anything else you got going on, that you're willing to share as far as trainings and things like that. I know you were doing something with Mike Watkins. Are you guys still doing that, or is that on hold?
We kind of put it on hold. We are going to start back the Real Estate Assassins local meetup. It's going to start back next month. It'll be the second Tuesday of every month at noon at Mellow Mushroom in Hiram. So we're gonna that's Hiram, Georgia. So we're gonna still be doing that. If anyone's local to the area, they can come meet us up next month. We're gonna try to do our first one since after COVID. We kind of shut it down. And then also any of the heavy hitters that are around Atlanta that are doing at least 3 or 4 deals a month, wholesaling or buying houses. We do a meetup at the end of every month, last Friday of every month. We're going to start it back again next month as well. And it's the Real Estate Assassins Mastermind Group. And it will be it'll actually be held this next month at our office. So it'll be the first one back since COVID as well. And if anyone is interested in either one of those groups, just reach out to me and I'll give you the information.
Good stuff.
As far as I don't know what I did with the flyer. I'm trying to look it up real quick. But it's some of you may or may not have heard of the Wholesalers R Us. It's hosted by Will Galloway and Tim Harvey. They put it on. So we're doing a event next Saturday, May 30th from 11 to 2. And me, Jacques Pierre, Eddie Raymond, and Anthony Epps are all going to be talking about creative financing, subject tos, and lease options.
Great stuff.
And it's going to be a pretty intensive thing. So I'm going to put, actually, you can text. I'm going to put in right here, text Will and Tim.
Are you putting it in the public chat?
I don't know how to do that. It's not allowing me. It's only allowing me to do the host chat for some reason. But I'll put it right here, and then you can share it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure it goes over there.
It's text Will and Tim to 82149 for information on that. There, I have a flyer. I can try to post up the flyer in the real estate investing group as well.
Okay, good stuff. Well, yeah, I'll make sure it gets over there.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah, got it. Okay. All right, listen, great stuff today, man. Great stuff today. Thank you for sharing all the information that you did today. You gave some great insight on things. And it's just been confirmation for me, what we've been saying for a while about how to do this business and how people need to be paying attention to it. So again, man, salute to what you got going on. All the best to Chaotic and all the, the things, the mortgage company, definitely we'll be looking at ways that we can help you with growing that, and sending customers your way and all that, so.
Thank you so much, man.
Definitely. So is there anything you want to share with the folks before we go? Actually, one thing I want to talk about before we go is we were talking about pulling comps, and I came across some information that I'm going to be sharing where people can actually pull comps with confidence. Pullcompswithconfidence.com. It's a company that I've actually partnered with that I'm using. PropStream, I'm sure you've heard of it. Actually, PropStream is actually going to be on the show next week, sharing different ways of how to use the program and how to get leads, cash buyer leads, how you can get pull comps all over the country, how you can get buyer leads, seller leads. All this information is packed into this program. And it was something that I was told about some time ago, and I was like, yeah, I already got my stuff going on and I'm good. But it's not bad to have an additional tool, because that will definitely get you, to those $60,000 leads, that you want to get on a monthly basis. So check that out at pullcompswithconfidence.com, and you'll be able to, I think it's a 7-day free trial where you can actually log in and try it out that you're using, you want to use. If not, cancel. If not, go ahead and keep it. But check it out at pullcompswithconfidence.com.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, man, listen, thanks again. Anything you want to share with the folks before we go?
I just want to tell you, man, it was a pleasure being on your show, and I'm so glad that you reached out to me. I appreciate, you thinking of me. Guys, if anyone on here is wanting to reach out to me to ask me any questions, feel free to look me up on Facebook or Instagram. I have a private page and a public page on Facebook. But reach out to me on either one, or you can check out, Chaotic Realty or Chaotic Real Estate Solutions on Facebook. Send me a message through there. Or you can email me at chaoticrealty@gmail.com. And actually, I'm going to do something I normally don't do, but I'm going to give you my phone number as well.
Now this is going to a whole lot of people now. I just want to make sure you know.
It's all right. This is my work phone, so y'all can blow my work phone up and ask me specific questions y'all do. I want to help as many people as possible. So if anyone has any questions on how they can get started or how they can help us or how we can work together or anything, just reach out to me. We'll see what we can do to help each other.
Okay, good stuff. There was one other comment. Justin, are you adding into the calculations? Let me just put it up here.
Okay.
There was something Mr. Ed Felder asked. Are you adding into the calculations the tightening credit from residential lenders and the exponential drop in pricing expected in the coming months?
I guess he's talking about for me flipping right now. Is that what he's
yeah.
So, I mean, right now we're not really taking into those calculations yet, because right now the most of the lenders that we're working with, they're still kicking strong, and they haven't really tightened up credit at all. And the ones that have, it's not really affecting our business that much. But as far as the drop in a couple of months, I mean, right now there is almost no inventory in the Atlanta market. I don't know about other parts of the country, but the Atlanta market is still going extremely, extremely strong. The last flip we did sold in less than 2 days. And most of the houses in one of the neighborhoods that we actually are working on right now, there's only been one house that sold in the last month, and it sold within a day. And then another neighborhood that we're working on, the houses in that neighborhood have sold all within the last like maybe 7 days. They were on market for like really, really short amount of time. So there's very, very little inventory around the Atlanta market right now. So houses are selling like hotcakes when they do go on the market. So flipping right now in Atlanta is really good right now because all the investors that kind of backed out of Corona have stopped flipping. So with that being said, the last 3 months, there has been a lot less inventory than normal. So now people are playing catch up. People are still needing to buy houses, but there ain't really very many houses to choose from. So houses have actually been going into bidding wars. In fact, one of my business partners, his house, he had a house that just sold last week. He put it on the market for 160, and the highest comp in that area was 162. He put it up for 160, and it ended up selling for 178 because there was no other houses in the area, and it went into a bidding war. So with that being said, no, not right now, but I do feel that probably around July, August, we're probably going to be slowing down a little bit and kind of keeping an eye on the markets because I really do feel like August and October, November areas, those months right there are going to be probably be able to pick up some really, really, really good deals on houses. I think a lot of people are going to be going through these forbearances where they didn't think about the end actions when the Corona hit and they weren't paying their mortgages, and they're going to be falling behind, and they're going to either want to sell or it's going to be a really good opportunity before December to pick up some houses subject to. I guarantee you. So I really encourage everybody to learn subject to, because I know back in January when we were really hitting in January and February, was really hitting hard with pre-foreclosures. And I think we had 160 leads in just Paulding County and Cobb County that we were chasing after. And that was on a normal month before Corona. So like back with all these forbearances stuff, probably in November or October, August, in those months, I guarantee you there's going to probably be thousands, of pre-foreclosures. And when people are in a tight bind and they're not wanting their credit to get screwed up anymore, and they're not wanting to just lose their house to auction and everything else, people are willing to walk away from the houses for very few, dollars. I mean, we picked up houses for literally nothing before, where we just walked right into them because they just didn't want it to get foreclosed on.
Right.
And then we've also done ones where, maybe a couple $1,000s. Folks aren't desperate to sell yet. That's correct. They will be, but not yet. We're still good right now, I think.
Right.
But what are our end buyers paying cash? No, these are people that are still, going through traditional banks and stuff. I mean, now there's still people paying cash. I mean, we still got quite a few investors that are constantly buying. We've sold quite a few properties in the last month and a half, 2 months, wholesale. But we also had a couple of flips that we've done and sold them, like I said, in bidding wars. They've gone up in price because there's just no inventory right now. So I don't think anybody really has to worry about pricing dropping right now. But yeah, definitely keep out. Right after summer, I think we're going to start seeing some major dips.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Who knows? So, I mean, it may keep going strong. We might see some help from the government that kind of prevents that from happening. I don't know, but I doubt it. we'll probably see a lot of foreclosures before December.
Definitely.
And that will affect the market. Once you start having a large amount of people losing their homes and people picking them up for low and stuff, the pricing is going to drop. I just don't think we're there yet.
Right. Again, great stuff, Justin. Listen, it is apparent that you've become a student of the business of real estate investing. you know, that's one thing that I preach about doing what we do, that, you know, people should be definitely become a student and understand the markets, which, you know, based on what you're saying, it sounds like you're clear on, you know, what your goals are and your structure and things like that. So again, I salute what you got going on. Thanks again for being a guest on the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show. And
Thanks, man.
you know, it's been great having you. So for the folks that are watching, this is Justin Shipp, the man with the plan. Definitely reach out to him. I was trying to get your information over in the chat, but for some reason I couldn't get it from the host chat over to the public chat. But I will make sure that information gets over there so folks can reach out to you. So again, this has been the Real Life Real Estate Investing Show, where we talk about real life real estate situations, where we bring you real life real estate solutions. Again, salute to my man Justin Shipp for joining the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank y'all for watching, and definitely be tuning in next week. We got a representative from PropStream that's going to be sharing some information on how to use that program and some of the benefits of it.
Awesome, so, man.
Have a great day, Justin. Thanks again.
I'll talk to you later.
We'll be talking to you all soon.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.